Hello and welcome to my studio journal. Now back in 2022, I started to redesign my home studio, shifting from software to hardware for the first time. What began as a few videos for some curious students soon became an ongoing unfiltered record. Here we are, day 24. I did not make the deadline. I'm actually teaching in an hour. So I have to get things straightened out a little bit, so I'm going to start moving pretty quick here. All right, so this is the state we're in right now. Cords all over the place. Things looking pretty nasty, but what I'm going to do is take out that rack unit and we're going to start hooking some stuff up. I just need to take out the rack, and because it's carpeted in here, I can flip it on its front, and then I have access to the patch bay right there. So this might not be as difficult as what I thought it was going to be. With like 5 minutes to spare, we're back in business. Now, except for there's a little bit of a problem here. I got everything hooked up, but that's going a little bit crazy down there. And I don't know why. I had to move the power conditioner from one up to one down just because there was a problem with the mixer board plugging in there. Obviously, you can see with the action on the compressor down here that something is going on. But for right now, it's off to teaching. I teach pretty late, so I won't get to figuring this stuff out till much later on this evening. I have a little bit of a break now again. The way these cords are tied up are perfect. It's kind of like an audio cable snake. But then it gets into this, and this is an absolute nightmare back here. I think it can be better. That's going to be my next task here, is to actually try and get some of this sorted out, because it's just a little too crazy back here. Like if you get back into the thing here, like trying to see that patch bay, like what's going on in there? It's pretty hard to see, but this is what it looks like right now. We have cords like this going underneath other things, and it really should be tidied up here. Okay, so this is it, just lying face down on the ground again on the carpet. This is the cabling that I got to clear up. The problem is all these cables are way too long for where they should be. Anyhow, this is what I'm stuck with. Everything here is 3 to 5 feet just to go that short distance. Right now, what I'm going to try and do is get everything so that all these cords are organized slightly better. So, you know what? I'm going to have to teach with this mess kind of sitting here, because I'm not going to lug it out again. I think this is working out a lot better. So we have these cables right here, which are going to be on top of everything else. So they hang down. All the electrical is going to go back into here. I started at this end of the plugs that are going into the patch bay. I evened them all out and then just made one great big cord like that to that big heap of cords back there. Now I wish I had cords that were the right length, but that's just not the case. And cords right now, like a 4-foot cord for $49. So anyhow, that's, I think, a lot better going to be going into the patch bay, which will make, let's rotate it around here. I think that'll make everything a lot easier getting into that patch bay. Now the next thing is to try and deal with all of the electrical cords. So I want to keep all electrical running up here, all audio running down there. Well, it looks like I got to get back to teaching again. I got 10 minutes before my next lesson here. I'm just going to trip over this stuff for the next couple of lessons. I only got like 5 more tonight or something like this, because when I'm done, I still want to get back at it so I can wire everything in there and test everything out. I found a couple of cords that I didn't label. Now I got to trace them back to their sources and label them again at the patch base, so that should be fine. I got the plan for the patch base, so I'm going to work that out. I've run out of these cable tie things. So hopefully I can find some in a drawer someplace in order to carry on. Quite a few cables that I gotta try and hook up. I have plenty of clips, and I think that's how I'm gonna do the power in the back, is use those clips and hook the power cords into those. In the back of the cabinet to run the power up top and all the audio on the bottom. So anyhow, off to work again. This is what this looks like more organized. Once this gets flipped up and put in, it'll even be better yet, because right now you see stuff dragging across the back of it that's not going to be dragging across the back of it. So there's actually 48 cables coming out of that, so I think all things considered, it's half decent. Now I need to put the racks back. These cords are really, really long. A group of cables coming up into the back of the unit here. I have all the cables coming from the mixer down into the patch bay, which is way down in here. So this is where all the cables are coming out into the mixer. The power cables coming from out of the units up along clips along the top, going across back into basically the power conditioner over there. This top thing is the Pro Channel 2, and this does leave me enough room here that if I wanted to get that secondary compressor, I could. This is much easier now to deal with, and in fact, once this thing's out, it's really easy to see. One of the main problems, you see this bunch of cords right here. Well, that's because that's all they had to shop was 10-foot cords, unless if I wanted to go with a shorter 3-foot cord that was like $50, which means that just hooking up that interface alone would have been $250 to $300, let alone any of this other stuff that's in here. So anyhow, now it's a matter of firing everything up to see if we can get any of it working. This is where I'm going to call it quits for tonight. You can't see the board up here, but if you could, the meters are all lit up and everything's working. So sound is being sent through that mixer. If we turn it up, it will spike, but I'm not sure why. I'm sure there's a reason it has to do with the compressor. I'm sure, because that's the same problem that we had down here. When I put on the output thing, all of a sudden everything started happening. These two jacks here are for the mixer out. So if I take these two jacks, plug them in, there's the mixer out, and I want to put them to the Pro Channel. Here's the Pro Channel. The two Pro Channel ins are right there. So if I plug these into here, there we go. We see the compressors working up here. We see it's working up there. If I turn on the preamp, or turn up the gain on the preamp, we can see the needles are moving now. So everything seems to be working fine just the way it was. Now, if I wanted to hear this signal, what I would do then is go from right here, which is the Pro Channel, the two Pro Channel outs, and I would swing them around under here, which is the zoom in. So this is, once again, this going to the Mackie controller. So now, if I was to turn up the Mackie controller, we would have it the zoom out here to the compressor over here is the compressor. As soon as we plug them in there, we can see all of our compressor settings working. I'm still learning how to use this equipment, so I'm not entirely familiar with it yet. But what I do know is that we are obviously getting the correct amount of signal into these things. So the Pro Channel has the same compressor apparently that the Pro VLA2 has. And this way, if I got a different compressor, I could have a little bit of a different flavor as well. I could either use it in the mastering chain or when I'm tracking out individual instruments. I'm done for tonight. Once again, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and so ends day 24. And tomorrow we'll deal with more stuff that has to be dealt with. If you'd like to follow the full journey, check out my online studio journal linked in the description. Until next time, I'm just a music teacher having fun. Catch you on the next one.